but it does help me. So, hi everybody, welcome to our session 0 of Quest. Specifically, Quest is a fantasy roleplay game. It is a lightweight, generic fantasy engine. And I am running it into one of my nostalgic loves of yesteryear, which was Spelljammer. So we have a vaguely Spelljammerish world, all taking place in the cosmic space between the multiverses. Quest is a new game. Which you can find on adventure.com, Coolcast RPG. We have generated our characters. We have set up our safety and support tools. A lot of these things are built into the game, which is really nice. And there's a way of sort of keeping a nice, simple story approach to roleplay games, but building safety in. So well done to the Adventure Guild for doing that. We are joined by Leandro, Robbie, and Dave. And David, even I'm Dave. He's David. We use that because we are the Dave. And we're playing on the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is a role-play community which you can find at gauntlet-rpg.com. We are playing under its inclusivity policy. We have set up lines and veils as our safety and support behind the scenes. We're using the X card. We set up a design palette so we know what we're playing with. But this will be our introduction to our characters and setting of the worlds, because we've just spent the last sort of 90 minutes doing the world building and sorting our sheets. So I suppose with no further ado, let me open up our adventures by describing where we are, which is the Rock of Bral. The Rock of Bral sits in the glittering cosmic streams between the primal worlds. It is about a mile wide. Upon it is a grand citadel in green lands, a sort of large reservoir of water, and the noble villas. But across it, we would sort of come across into the shambles and the ports, and the shambles are like much more unsavory places, piled many stories high, with families living in small rooms. There are people who've come to the rock looking for fortune or adventure, or even just the chances of work or escaping from wherever it is they have come in the multiverse. But here, life is harder. Our three very disparate heroes come from different places. So I think we will go in the reverse order that we set up our characters in the Keeper today. And when this was a movie, we saw Abraxas Hart, played by David for the first time. Would you like to introduce Braxis and set that scene for us, David?
Yeah, sure thing. Abraxas Hart uses he, him pronouns. He is a tiefling. I will quickly read through the character sheet, as it were. So I'm 22 years old. I stand 5 foot 10 inches tall, not counting the horns. When people see me, they first notice my bright red skin and impressive horns, and my glowing eyes and gleaming smile. I wear a cool vintage dragon scale coat and move with youthful enthusiasm tempered by studied grace. I'm from the Shambles, by way of hell, where my people are known for summoning demons and engaging them in odd jobs. I believe in freedom and adventure, but my reckless side can get in my way, and I dream of traveling to the ends of the multiverse and coming back a living legend. So yeah, I think we see Abraxas. He is, he's wearing his like long, sort of dragon scale great coat. He has a rapier at his hip, and I think when we come in on him, he is outside a out in sort of the marketplace, facing off against a burly looking man. who then on the ground nearby is a boy who's obviously been carrying bread rolls from a baker's somewhere else that's been knocked over and spilt on the floor. And Abraxas is sort of is obviously trying to, I mean, de-escalate the situation would probably be a generous way of putting it, but he's certainly getting involved. Oh, so I think you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Yeah, so that burly man, tattooed on his arms, if I'm understanding your positioning correctly, he was run into by a boy with a baker's cart, or he knocked someone over?
Yes, something along those lines.
The bread is on the floor. The poor lad trying to pick up his wares and hope that they are discount them, and with all this grit on them. He said, "You should watch where you're going," says the kid to the burly man, who looks much like this was the wrong thing to say as he's brushing crumbs and cream off his jacket. He's putting his hand to a wicked looking mace on his hip.
Yeah, and I think this is the point when Abraxas kind of pushes between a couple of other onlookers and says, "Hey there now, mate. I don't think you want to be going causing any trouble here. Now, from what I saw, it looked like you could have been paying a bit more attention. This lad here was just trying to do his job. Now, I suggest you help him back to his feet and dust him down a little. We can all put this behind us, yeah?"
Well, we have two choices here. We can roll, and this game just uses one roll d20, no modifiers to it. Or there is one of your as the invoker in the group, Abraxas. You seem to have an ability which is declare, which might be appropriate here.
Yeah. I think I am going to go for a roll first because I want to see if this gets messy or not.
You've always got it in your back pocket, right? So
exactly, yeah.
This is a roll of a d20. Okay, so if you are coming to us from a D&D type community, there are 5 category groups. The 1 and the 20 still totally matter, but there are chances inside it which are more common to the result spread that you might see in a Powered by the Apocalypse type day, which is a failure, a yes but, and a sort of yes and type success. So roll a d20 for us, Abraxas, and let's see how this rolls.
Well, that is a 4. So yeah.
It is a failure. And for the players around the table, in our character keeper, there is the rule summary where I've captured these cards, and that means that it is a failure. So on a 2 to 5, you fail your intended action, face a setback of the guide's choice. So the burly man looks at you and he says, "Who are you?" He said that Iron said, "Aha! I have figured this out. This is a demonic plot." And he pulls forth his mace and looks at you and says, "So you'll rue the day that you interfered in the affairs of Bral the pious demon."
Hey, now look, you're talking to Abraxas Heart. And this here's my manner. I don't care who you are or what you think you're up to, but I won't stand by while you hurt people in this town. And
I don't know who this Abraxas is or how you have got his heart, but it will be returned to them, demon. Returned, I say. And he is drawing his mace and looking somewhat like he is about to up the ante.
Yeah, and I think Abraxas was like, "Look, I can see you're not a man to be reasonable about this sort of thing. I've I've no I've no desire to hurt you, but I'm not going to stand back while you throw your weight around here. And I think he will draw his rapier and flourish it unnecessarily, um, and say, "But how's about then we make this formal? Duel to first blood. I win. You compensate the young boy here for his um, spilt wares, and you go on your way."
And says, and if I win?
I don't know. You can try exercising me or something, I guess.
Indeed, I accept your terms, demon. And he waves his vicious-looking two-handed mace. And the crowd is in the market, and the shambles is pulling back. We can see traders remarkably pulling their wares away. Immediately, someone has appeared and is starting a betting circle as coins are being exchanged. They said, Tieflin or the Paladin, Tieflin or the Paladin, put your money where your dreams and hearts are. And how would you like to resolve this, Abraxas? Do you want to go into combat rounds, or would you like to use any of your abilities?
I think I'm actually at this point. I am going to make a declaration. I think as the as the sort of crowd gathers around. As a crowd sort of gathers around and starts placing bets and the like, Braxis is kind of he's sort of circling the large man. Occasionally kind of like fainting in, but then ducking back and away as he sort of swings out with a mace. And he says, "Look, it's we all know how it is down here, living in the shambles. There's always someone like you coming in and throwing their weight around, not caring for the likes of us. But we won't be held back and held down. You'll always find someone that's willing to stand up for all of us. And today that's me. And I am going to use my declare ability once seen when I make a declaration for why I'm getting involved in this. I'm going to choose the result that I automatically make a successful basic attack on a nearby foe.
Okay.
So I think I lunge in after a few moments of like back and forth. I lunge in and just give him the sort of the dueling scar across the cheek with the tip of my blade.
Bral the Pious grabs his cheek in disbelief that you have struck him, and looks like they might escalate it further if not for the fact your terms were clear, and the crowd is clearly on your side. Says, very well. And he takes from his purse some coins and passes it to the poor baker's boy and says, I am sorry for my clumsiness. He puts his mace back on his belt and then looks at you and says, said, we'll meet again, you, and stalks out. The young lad, looking at the coins, is sort of tears in his eyes. He says, "Thank you so much. I was so scared that the baker would give me a switch-in for dropping his buns again." And he offers you up. He's brushed the dust off it, but offers you your choice of free baked goods.
Yeah, and I think Abraxas will give a big, elaborate bow, swishing his coat as he does so. We'll take a cream horn, brush a little bit of grit off of it, and take take a big bite out of it as he walks back into the back down the street.
uh, having made more than the money for the day for selling the baked goods, the baker's assistant gives away his bakery goods to the crowd watching as we see Abraxas exit the scene. I think that's introduced us quite nicely to Abraxas and who they are as a character. But what about Varin? Where in this same film, if we were to see Varin for the first time, will we find them, Robbie? And you can introduce yourself in the same way you did.
Okay, my name is Robbie. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Varen, uses he, him pronouns, who is a naturalist. Varen is claims to be 75 years old, but people who look at him, I mean, some of them say there's no way he's 75. He seems to be much more youthful looking, youthful moving than that would suggest. He's a slight person, 5 feet tall. I imagine him rather thin. When people see me, often they first notice me not by seeing me, but by my scent. I have this kind of these herbal florid scents that waft around me, have a strangely youthful appearance and energy. I wear these multicolored hempen clothes that fit loosely on me, move with smooth ease. I'm from a place called the Prismatic Wood, which is not on the rock, but on a nearby asteroid. And people are known for secret meditative practices, and I believe in embracing surprises and wonders, but my foolish side can get in my way. And I think you see, I think, Varen loves to dance. I think dancing is something that is part of his people's uh, practices, but I think that Varen is often extending the kind of dancing that he does, and is often uh, in the late afternoons or even the evenings will go and situate himself at a kind of common area where there is music being played and people are kind of gathering to socialize, to listen to the music and to dance. And so I think that's where you first see him, oddly enough. He's not with his he has a small group of other of his group that are on the rock, but they're not here. This is not something that other other of his kind would normally do, but he's kind of enjoying the social gathering and is enjoying doing some dancing down here.
And is this, as I say, this who has organised the dance then, Varin? If not so much you.
I think this is like a common area where I think maybe it's a kind of, I imagine this to be outside, but there's a some nearby pubs, restaurant places that kind of set up, that kind of organize different kind of groups to come in, and then they do it in this kind of public area. But it's the businesses nearby that kind of have organized it, because they get a bunch of people there that then will, give them some business.
Excellent. Yes, so the music is playing. There are bards and bands. Here, everyone does remember to toss a coin to their witcher, and the song and the dance is quite intoxicating. I think this is sort of out of the shambles in some of the open spaces, or say where there is place or space for a square where people can dance. The families, I think there are, I'd say, dwarven families dancing with their children. It is quite quite the thing. dwarven woman is she looks at you with her pipe smoking, evaluating your dance form, and deciding of whether or not she's dressed in gold and noble clothes, whether she will extend the opportunity of you to have a slot on her dance card. Let's see how well your dancing goes, and if your practice is playing off, or if this, as a 75-year-old, is more dancing. So again, in any ability where you do not have a specific ability which are paid for with adventure points, you can roll a d20. We've established your character is good at dancing, so they certainly should have a chance.
So I rolled an 11.
So on an 11, that is into the so again, sorry, that is a success, I believe. Somewhere up. Yeah, so an 11 to a 19, a success. You succeed without compromise, or deal the standard amount of damage. So it is a successful dance. You strut, you go through the hands, you get your gestures correct, and then the dwarven woman comes up towards you and plonks a mug in your hand, drinking deeply from her own, and says, "Your form is improving."
Yeah, and have I met this woman before, or is
I
she?
think so. I'm just going to put a picture of her into the chat. She is one of the I suppose the word you would call him is a merchant prince here, who makes their wealth and sovereignty through trading. She is known to be a little of a gossip and a matchmaker. Her name is let's call her. She is called Dara. Specifically, those she would prefer to be called Lady Dara. Others refer to as the Dowager Dara, and that's a good way to get thumped by her cane if she ever heard you call it. She is over 140 years old, but is still looking for love. She says, "And it's only you who come here and dance with us. Where?" Says, "The rest of your kind, they see no need for the music."
Well, Lady, and I always make a point to call her Lady Dara. No need to. I certainly would not call her Dowager Dara. But say, Lady Dara, my friends, they're perfectly amicable types, but I don't know. They tend to keep their kind of love of music a bit to themselves. I myself am always willing to see who the newest musicians are passing through the Rock. We certainly do get a good variety in this place. Yeah, so I myself am perfectly content to kind of take advantage of the open air and good company and the kind of social life.
Wonderful. So this means you would be interested in accompanying me to the grand ball in the Citadel.
Oh, the grand ball. I I've never been to the Citadel before. I'm honored that you would ask. Tell me more.
Said, oh, it is a wonderful thing. Once a year, when the uh, uh, cherry blossoms bloom, the Lord of the Citadel and the other Iron Lords will open the doors, and there will be a grand ball. And those who are seen as viable citizens will be invited to dance and feast. Said, I have spoke highly of you, and I would think you an appropriate uh, uh, what is the word? An appropriate date for the evening. Said, but don't be trying anything, you rascal, you.
Yeah. So I well you know I never really put much thought into. I knew that the Citadel had all sorts of events during the year, but I didn't really pay it much attention myself. Had my focus on other things, but well, certainly I'm always willing to embrace something new and different. That when is the ball? The
Oh,
cherry blossoms are blooming, are on the verge of blooming now.
in 3 nights' time. Said, we will of course need to get you dressed, tailored, looking appropriate, and don't worry about your dance card. I will fill that for you. We will make you the most eligible figure out there. Said, do you have any preferences?
Preferences for my dance card?
Said, oh, leave it to me, leave it to me. And she lights her pipe, taps you on the shoulders, and says, we will have you married within the month.
Well, let us not rush, please. But I certainly would enjoy seeing the Citadel from the other side of the wall. That sounds uh, pleasant to me. In terms of you say you're going to get me married. I mean, who would you have in mind?
Says, I said, I will come back to you. And the dwarfishness in her sort of, and you can see the eyes as if she was thinking about a battlefield, and she sort of thinks about the tactics to maneuver and use here, and says, yes, I can think of some. Leave it with me.
Yeah, and I think with that, I think I would say, well, very well. Before I leave for the evening, would you care to dance the next tune with me?
Oh, she sort of says, oh, wonderful. I would love to. We can deal with that lazy arm of yours. Come on. And we will cut and move the scene there to unfold upon our third hero, Hallow. And where would we see Hallow for the first time? You are muted, Hallow.
I muted. There we go. No longer. Hi, name is Andrew. Use he and pronouns. Just briefly describe Hallow before we see where they are, because where they're going to be is a bit different from what they usually are. So, Hallow is party spy. They look somewhat near 30, stand at 6 feet tall. When people see me, they first notice my stiff bearing and porcelain skin and my hollow crystalline eyes. Usually I wear black finery more suited to royalty and move with a sudden deliberate nature. I'm from the Umbral Sea, where my people are known for map making, recording the ways of the known world. Well, I say my people more like the people I was around when I was first found, because I'm a construct, an artificial being, um, so to speak. I believe in quietly making my own way through the world, but my dramatic side can get in my way, and I dream of finding someone else like me. So I've made it out of the Umbral Sea, looking if there's any other constructs like myself, and made it to the Rock of Bral. When I think when we see Hallow, mm, Hallow, not Hollow. Um, I think it's going to be at the docks where, ships are busy coming in and out through the astral waves, through the star-ridden sea. I'm not sure how that works, but I think they're making their way through, and looking for a specific ship where they found rumors that it had a passenger, with porcelain hands. Um, is the rumor that they found, but they don't look like Hallow right now. Instead, they're using one of their abilities. Their persona ability, which I realize now is the Agent 47 Hitman ability, where they have taken on the guise of a dock officer, one of those customs official basically,
Mm-hmm.
because part of the persona is like you have a convincing alternate identity. It's not a persona of an existing person, so it's something they had to like make up themselves. Um, and one of the options is create a persona of an officer, someone in a position of formal authority. So right now they are in the position of a customs official, so they can get into the ship and see if any of those rumors are true.
Okay. So the docks of Bral are busy and raucous, and there's always a tension between mystical and alchemical creations lifting things from the ship and laborers desperate for a day's work. But the ship that you have heard about is in port, and you are looking, I think, out upon it. It is a grand looking vessel. Find a picture of it. One of the smaller ships that you would see across this world, but it is grand and refined. Its outwards hull is quite porcelain white in color and regal blues and great golds. This you would assume to be somewhat of a small pleasure yacht for one of the more rarefied lords that come to travel here. You hear tell that there are those who come from some of the other areas out into the wild spaces that come to Bral to seek distraction and pleasure. Uh, Upon the ship that you are looking at, we can see a figure. Their face and features are pleasant, but the hands, you spot it for just a moment. Well, maybe, yeah, you spot it for just a moment as they pull gloves on them, but the hands are porcelain for sure. They are standing next to an angry-looking, burly man who has a mace on their side and a cut on their cheek.
Ah, oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Yeah, I think seeing that small glimpse kind of gives Hallow. It's morning. Well, not morning anymore, but it was morning. Hallow, there's something like, all right, I'm just gonna go up there and go up to like the gangplank and just, hello, customs here.
And the ability you're using, does it make you appear like customs anyway, or are you blagging yourself?
Oh, yes, I should read it out. You carefully prepare a convincing alternate identity. This persona does consist of a wardrobe, credentials, and a backstory. I'm spending 4 AP to specifically be a person of official, because that's what it calls a persona of an officer. Is 4 AP. I am outwardly presenting myself as that person by wearing their costume. So I am wearing like a different thing to what I'm usually wearing. I've been preparing for this.
Up until this point, I don't think I ever realized how much I needed to see Leandro as a master of disguise, right? But we have the scenario where the burly man that is the same burly man from the scene with David is sort of standing in front of you. Goes, "Let me see your credentials." So,
Yes. I think I'll pull out it's probably like a badge. And it's like, no, it's not like it's not a wallet, but it's I think it's like it's a nameplate on like inscribed on like this piece of metal. It says, Prudence Pasquier, customs official, or and I think like it's a thing that like all other like customs officials have had in Brawl. And so if they've been here before, they've seen it before.
she is the woman. He looks at it and is quizzically looking at it, whilst the woman behind him, she sort of has taken off one of her gloves, and you can see that the hand she has is definitely porcelain. Her red hair gusts in the wind, and she looks you up and down and says, looks at you and says, "And how exactly can we help you?" Your rank, I'm saying, Inspector.
Oh, well, I would like to have a look at the ship's manifest, including details of the crew and cargo, your purpose of visit. It's paperwork. We're trying an initiative where instead of making one of your officials schlep to the office, decided why not save you the trouble and send one of ours to your ship. Cuts down on valuable work time for yourselves, don't you think?
Sort of smiles. So, how deeply thoughtful and efficient. I am Alpha Mir, and this is my vessel. We are carrying little in the way of cargo. We are here for the ball. We have been invited by the Iron Lords.
I think this is where Hallow is gonna go out on a bit of a limb outside of their disguise, and we'll just kind of like ask, well, an invitation from the Iron Lord is nothing to be sniffed at. Dare I ask, how is it you came to be invited by such nobility?
We have a long-standing relationship with the lords here. We serve their voracious requirements for wine. Says and smiles at you and says, and perhaps a bottle of the wine that we serve will be enough to ensure that you believe our paperwork is in order, and you and I can be on our way.
Well, that's terribly generous. I think like to Hallow, knowing this woman's name is probably like enough. and now they're thinking, all right, I have to get into this ball now. So I think they'll just kind of like nod, give them like, the superlicious kind of like smile. It's like, oh, I do believe a bottle of wine would be ideal. Especially in this climate, but with a ball coming. I do hope you and your crew have a fine time here in the Rock of Brawl. I hope you enjoy yourself at the ball. Um, is, uh, um, is that one name or two names? Alpha Mir?
Said one.
Well, lovely to meet your acquaintance.
Says likewise, I'm sure. Now, one other thing. My my protector, and she pointed to the burly man, said, was assaulted and robbed in the marketplace. Could you tell me where I can make a complaint? The gentleman was named Abraxas Hart.
I think just to be clear, these heroes, they all know each other because we all have a mutual acquaintance.
I think we could assume, even if you are not firm friends and regular acquaintances, the names of each other will be known. How friendly you are is for you to decide as players.
Okay, well, I don't know if Hallow is incredibly friendly with Abraxas, but Abraxas is no friend of Prudence Pasquier. And so Hallow says, "Oh yes, that blackguard, the scourge of the streets. Well, or so he would believe. I do apologize for your friend. More often than not, Abraxas Heart is no more than a nuisance. But if you would like to file a complaint, I'll be sure to take that on, and I'll pass it along to the watch."
Of course. Thank you so much. Oh, you're so efficient here. It's quite surprising. Not at all like they talk about you back home.
Gosh, she said. Yeah, he said, "Oh man." Hello, it's just. No, they gotta be professional. I think they're just nod and say, "Oh, anything to make sure your visit here is as stress-free as possible." Mm.
She will pass you a bottle of wine and says, "Thank you so much. Do enjoy."
Likewise, your stay. I should mean. I think like, unless there's anything else she's going to say. I think like there's like a moment where when Hallow is walking away, they're holding the bottle, and then they're also wearing gloves, and you can see like peeking under is like also their own porcelain skin, and just kind of like, no, I'll talk to them at the ball.
And then wherever you are after these scenes, making your way from them, whatever it is, a small reddish imp will reach for all of you, and it is definitely the sort of imps that Abraxas Hart's mother would provide as messaging services. And each of them delivers you an identical message, which is that the Blue Rose seeks an audience with you. She will pay for the drinks and for the meal. No top shelf, but she has an offer that may change all of your lives. And if she invites you to She invites you to one of the less violent taverns. It's let's call it the Billy of the Tea, which is a sailor's bar, but usually for junior officers. So it is less likely that fighting will occur here. But she has invited you. They, sorry, have invited you. Does everybody attend?
Yeah. I think Hallow's now changed out to their usual finery, big cloak, cravat, um, hands in show, hands in display.
And Abraxas sort of, comes in, sort of walks over to the regular table, sprawls over over a chair, and calls for wine.
And yeah, Varen would certainly make an appearance there. So I think Varen does normally. I guess he's going to look different for the ball, but he would be for this in his normal everyday attire.
Praxis, have I ever told you how much I admire how you treat every kind of seat as if it is a couch?
I think she. Oh, they. Sorry. The Blue Rose sort of smiles at that comment, Hallow, and says, "I'm sure we all realize now we have one seat for Abraxas and another for their sense of confidence and worth."
Yeah, it's besides these chairs aren't best suited for a tail. He'll grin and sort of his tail waves up above the edge of the table.
And sort of Blue Rose leans in conspiratorially to you and says, "I found the way off this rock. There is an unbound ship, its helm waiting for quest and owners. It is to be gifted to one of these Iron Lords, wasted as a pleasure vessel, whilst for us, it could get us away from here, for once and for all, find fortune and adventure." I'm putting together a small crew to obtain it. Would you be interested?
I'd be interested, but well, I hope there's a guarantee that this won't turn out like the last time you said you had a way off this rock.
How was I supposed to know that was a Lich Lord?
I think it was kind of obvious when the helm of that ship was a skull that came from those constructed from several planes of existence. It was fairly obvious, Rose.
This one is different. It's pristine. It has been cast from. It has been cast from living wood. Its sails are like velvet. It is a wonderful thing. And it is fast. We can get it, and we can be away for this place and back into the ether before anyone will know it was us. unless, of course, you wish to remain in this place. If so, I'll provide you a mask. You can be incognito. And if we succeeded, you will have a share in a ship.
Do you have a sense of, I mean, you talk about leaving here. What would your course be? What would your destination be? I mean, are we just, is the idea just to go sailing merrily about the ether, or is there some goal?
Yes, there's a goal. She sort of looks. Oh, you'll want me to tell you, won't you? There are untouched places and worlds. There are opportunities, and I believe, says, I have obtained it, and it seems quite genuine. I have a map to find the Spelljammer itself.
And I think Abraxas sort of grins at that, says, well, that's, if so, that's certainly a prize worth going for. But, well, you know me, Rose, you had me at piracy.
Said, you weren't the complicated one. She tops up your drink, Varin. Helping the living woods take upon a crew, that's the more complicated one. We're going to need some help. Varin, it's me. We're friends. Surely we can come to an agreement with this.
Varen nods and says, I'm happy that you call me a friend. When many years ago you helped me and some others get a kind of footing here. I mean, that this has been a wonderful place to be. I am intrigued. I'm always up for new experiences. What use do you think I would be on the ship?
I believe the Spelljammer is a living vessel. Your connection to the nature and the eddies of the ether. We need someone like you. Said, but your fortune, glory. Oh, you don't do fortune and glory so much. Spiritual awakening, enlightenment.
Varen, says, look, you don't need to pretend that spiritual awakening is part of your repertoire, but I'm intrigued. I look at my companions at the table and say, well, what do you think? I'm not averse to the idea.
I have a debt to the Blue Rose. That's still unpaid. This could even the balance. And travel. I'm never against travel.
Excellent. It's agreed. So I will gather the rest of my crew, and then all we have to do is figure a way into the royal citadel and steal the ship intended for the coming of age party for the eldest son of the Iron Lord. It will be a simple thing. Simple indeed. More wine. And as we are a few minutes to the hour and now introduce our character and our main adventure next time, we will draw this to a conclusion.